Life is not a straight path. It twists, it turns, and at times it plunges into depths you'd rather not explore. And yet the strange paradox of existence is this: to find peace, you must disturb the very things you fear most, the demons within. These demons, you see, are not your enemies. They are the guardians of transformation, the shadows that form only because you have light to cast. The world loves its comforts, its certainties, its predictable rhythms. But what happens when you step beyond the well-lit path? What happens when you move toward the edges of yourself, where the unknown waits like a patient predator? You disturb demons not because you are reckless, but because you are brave enough to realize that growth requires friction, and friction awakens what lies dormant. Demons, however, are not what you think. They are not monsters lurking to devour you. They are the fragmented pieces of your soul that you have exiled in moments of fear, self-doubt, or pain. They are the echoes of choices left unmade, words left unspoken, lives left unlived. And when you approach them, they grow restless not because they hate you, but because they long to be seen. To disturb demons is to remind them and yourself that they are a part of you. You will find that disturbing these demons does not destroy you, it unburdens you. It is uncomfortable, yes, even terrifying, but discomfort is not the enemy. It is a sign that you are alive, that you are stepping into the fullness of who you can be. Growth never comes without chaos, just as the seed must crack open for the tree to rise. Do not curse the darkness you encounter. Instead, be curious. What does this shadow teach you about your own light? What you resist persists. But what you face, you can transform. Awareness is the alchemy of the soul. When you bring the light of your attention to your demons, they lose their power over you. They become guides rather than foes. You learn that the fearsome growl of the monster is just a cry for integration. Your struggle, far from being a flaw, is the very fabric of your liberation. Disturb the demons. Stir the waters of your soul and let the sediment rise. See clearly what you have ignored, and in doing so, find freedom. Life's greatest beauty lies not in avoiding the storm, but in learning to dance with it. Only then will you realize that the demons you fear are nothing more than invitations to step fully into the vast, untamed wilderness of your being. The inner landscape of the human mind is vast and layered, filled with both beauty and turmoil. Within it there are corners we avoid, shadows we fear, and whispers we refuse to hear. These are the echoes of our inner struggles, those quiet, persistent parts of ourselves that challenge our sense of peace and certainty. Confronting them is not a simple act, it is a journey into the depths of what it means to be alive. When you face your inner struggles, you are not merely dealing with the obstacles of the external world, you are stepping into a confrontation with your own reflection. These struggles manifest as fears, doubts, unresolved emotions, and hidden desires, each vying for attention. They are not things to be silenced or pushed away. Instead, they are messages asking you to pause and listen, to look within and ask the difficult questions you've been avoiding. Why am I afraid? What am I running from? What am I truly longing for? These questions lead you deeper into yourself, and the answers are rarely comfortable. It is tempting to bury inner struggles beneath distractions, to keep yourself so busy that you don't have to hear the cries of your soul. But avoidance is not resolution. What you bury festers, growing louder and more persistent the longer it remains ignored. The act of confronting these struggles, however painful, is an act of liberation. It is not about defeating your fears or silencing your doubts, but understanding their origins and allowing them space to be seen. Inner struggles often arise from the stories we tell ourselves, stories about who we are, what we deserve, and how the world should be. These stories, though they feel real, are often built on foundations of past pain and societal conditioning. Confronting them means questioning their validity, challenging the beliefs that keep you bound, and daring to imagine a narrative where you are not defined by your scars but empowered by them. This process is not linear, nor is it quick. It requires courage, patience, and the willingness to feel deeply. Some struggles will fade with time, while others will revisit you in new forms, each offering a fresh opportunity to grow. In facing them, you begin to see that they are not enemies but teachers. They reveal the parts of yourself that you have neglected and remind you of the resilience and strength that lies within you. Comfort is a seductive illusion, a mirage that promises safety and ease but often traps us in stagnation. It wraps itself around us like a warm blanket, whispering that the familiar is enough, that staying within known boundaries will protect us from pain and uncertainty. And while it may feel reassuring in the moment, this illusion quietly erodes our potential, keeping us from the growth and fulfillment that lie just beyond its reach. The nature of comfort is deceptive because it masquerades as peace. When life is predictable and unchallenging, it seems as though we have found stability. Yet true peace does not come from avoiding the storms of life, but from learning to navigate them with courage and clarity. The illusion of comfort lulls us into a state of complacency, convincing us that the risk of discomfort outweighs the reward of discovery. It tells us that change is dangerous, that the unknown is a threat rather than an opportunity. In clinging to comfort, we limit our experience of the world. We avoid the situations, people, and challenges that could teach us the most. Growth is rarely found in the spaces where everything is easy. It comes from stepping into the unfamiliar, from stretching beyond what feels safe and confronting the edges of who we think we are. The illusion of comfort discourages this. It tells us to stay in the job that no longer inspires us, to remain in relationships that have grown stagnant, to keep living a life that no longer feels alive. What makes comfort so powerful is that it is self-reinforcing. The more we choose it, the more it conditions us to fear its absence. We forget the resilience we carry within us, the capacity to adapt, to endure, and to thrive in the face of challenge. The boundaries of our comfort zone shrink, and with them, our vision for what life can be. The illusion becomes a prison, one we willingly construct around ourselves. Breaking free from this illusion requires an act of defiance against our own instincts. It means questioning the stories we tell ourselves about what we can and cannot do, about what we deserve and what is possible. It requires us to step into discomfort not recklessly, but intentionally, knowing that every step outside the familiar expands our understanding of ourselves and the world. Only in the discomfort of the unknown do we find the raw material for transformation. Chaos is an intrinsic part of existence, a force that disrupts order, shatters predictability, and challenges our sense of control. It is often seen as something to be feared or avoided, an unwelcome storm in the otherwise calm seas of life. Yet chaos is not an enemy. It is a vital, transformative energy, the fertile ground from which creativity, growth, and profound change emerge. To embrace chaos is to accept life in its most authentic and dynamic form. There is a certain irony in our relationship with chaos. We crave certainty and stability, yet the very essence of life is unpredictable and fluid. The seasons change, people evolve, opportunities come and go, and nothing remains fixed. This unpredictability is not a flaw in the fabric of existence, but its very design. Chaos is the pulse of life, a reminder that everything is in motion, always becoming. To resist it is to resist life itself. In embracing chaos, you begin to see that it is not merely a force of destruction, but also one of creation. When the old structures fall apart, they make room for the new. Chaos breaks open the rigid frameworks we cling to, exposing possibilities we could not have imagined within the confines of certainty. It forces us to adapt, to innovate, to reimagine what is possible. The discomfort it brings is the price of transformation, a necessary step in the process of renewal. The struggle against chaos often stems from our desire for control. We build routines, set goals, and construct identities in an effort to create a sense of order. While structure is important, it is not the ultimate truth of life. Chaos reminds us that control is at best an illusion. The world does not bend to our will, and no amount of planning can account for the unexpected twists and turns of existence. Accepting this truth can be liberating. When you stop clinging to control, you open yourself to the flow of life, finding freedom in its unpredictability. Chaos also holds a mirror to our inner world. The turbulence we encounter externally often reflects the unresolved fears, desires, and conflicts within us. When life feels chaotic, it is an invitation to look inward, to examine what needs to be released, and to find the stillness that resides beneath the surface. Embracing chaos does not mean surrendering to despair or disorder. It means finding balance within the storm, learning to navigate its currents with grace and resilience. There is a raw beauty in chaos, a sense of aliveness that order alone cannot provide. It pushes us out of complacency, forcing us to engage with life in a deeper and more authentic way. It reminds us that we are not static beings but dynamic, evolving participants in a constantly changing world. By embracing chaos, we step into the fullness of life, no longer constrained by the need for things to be neat, predictable, or controlled. Existence is a dance of opposites, a delicate interplay between light and dark, joy and sorrow, creation and destruction. This duality is not a flaw or contradiction in the fabric of reality, but its very essence. It is through the tension between opposites that life unfolds, vibrant and multifaceted. To understand the duality of existence is to see the profound interconnectedness of all things, where each aspect gains meaning through its counterpart. Light cannot be appreciated without the experience of darkness. It is in contrast that beauty emerges. In the juxtaposition of opposites that we find depth and significance. A world of endless sunshine would lose its warmth and charm without the coolness of shadow. Happiness is most deeply felt by those who have known pain, just as strength is born from the trials of struggle. These polarities are not separate, they are two sides of the same coin, each necessary for the other's existence. The duality of existence also reflects the inner workings of the self. Within each of us lies both kindness and anger, courage and fear, love and resentment. These opposites coexist, creating a complex and dynamic inner world. To deny one side in favor of the other is to live in fragmentation, disconnected from the fullness of who we are. The shadow parts of ourselves, the fears, doubts, and flaws we hide are not to be eradicated but understood and integrated. They are not enemies but teachers, offering insights into our deepest truths. In the broader scope of life, duality is evident in the cycles that govern existence. Day turns to night, seasons shift, and life itself is marked by birth and death. These cycles are not random, they are the rhythm of existence, a constant reminder that nothing is permanent and everything is interconnected. Death is not merely an end but a transition, making space for new life to emerge. Similarly, destruction paves the way for creation, and endings hold the seeds of beginnings. Embracing the duality of existence means moving beyond rigid judgments of good and bad, right and wrong. It requires recognizing that life's challenges and hardships are as essential as its joys and triumphs. It is through struggle that we grow, through failure that we learn, and through heartbreak that we discover the depth of love. The moments we label as negative often carry the greatest potential for transformation and understanding. The duality of existence also invites us to cultivate balance. Just as the universe oscillates between opposites, so too must we find equilibrium within ourselves. This balance is not about eliminating contrast, but harmonizing it, acknowledging that both light and shadow have their place. It is in this harmony that we find wholeness, a sense of peace that arises not from the absence of conflict, but from the acceptance of life's inherent complexity. To live fully is to embrace both sides of existence, to move fluidly between the highs and lows, the certainties and mysteries. The duality of existence reminds us that every moment holds the potential for transformation, that within every challenge lies a hidden gift, and that the beauty of life is found in its contrasts. Awareness is a force unlike any other, a quiet but profound power that has the capacity to transform not only how we see the world, but how we experience ourselves within it. It is the key to liberation, unlocking the chains of ignorance, fear, and attachment that bind us to suffering. Through awareness, we come to understand that much of what holds us back is not the circumstances we face, but the way we perceive and react to them. Awareness is not merely about observation, it is about seeing with clarity and depth, piercing through the illusions and mental constructs that cloud our vision. The human mind is filled with stories, beliefs about who we are, what we deserve, and how life should unfold. These stories shape our reality, but they are often rooted in assumptions, fears, or past experiences rather than truth. Awareness illuminates these stories, showing us that they are not fixed or absolute but malleable. With this realization, we gain the power to rewrite them, to step out of the roles we have unconsciously played and into a more authentic existence. One of the most liberating aspects of awareness is its ability to bring us into the present moment. So much of human suffering arises from living in the past or projecting into the future. We dwell on regrets, replay old wounds, or anxiously anticipate what is yet to come. In doing so, we lose connection with the only moment that truly exists, the now. Awareness anchors us in this moment, reminding us that life unfolds here and now, not in the shadows of memory or the haze of expectation. This presence is a balm for the restless mind, a return to the simplicity and beauty of being. Through awareness, we also come to understand the nature of our emotions and thoughts. Rather than being swept away by them, we learn to observe them with curiosity and detachment. A moment of anger, for example, can feel overwhelming when we identify with it. But when viewed through the lens of awareness, it becomes just another passing experience, neither good nor bad, simply a sensation to be acknowledged and understood. This shift in perspective reduces the hold that emotions and thoughts have over us, allowing us to respond to life with greater calm and wisdom. Awareness also reveals the interconnectedness of all things. It shows us that we are not isolated beings, separate from the world around us, but part of a vast, intricate web of existence. This understanding dissolves the barriers between self and other, fostering compassion and empathy. When we are aware, we see that our actions ripple outward, influencing everything they touch. This realization brings a sense of responsibility, not born of guilt, but of love, a desire to act in ways that honor the interconnected nature of life. The liberating power of awareness lies in its simplicity. It does not require us to change the world or even ourselves in dramatic ways. Instead, it invites us to see clearly, to step out of the habitual patterns that keep us trapped, and to approach life with openness and presence. In awareness, we find freedom, not freedom from the realities of life, but freedom within them, a sense of ease and grace that arises from knowing that we are not bound by our circumstances, but by our own perception of them. Struggle is an inherent part of life, an inescapable force that shapes us, challenges us, and ultimately propels us toward growth. It is often misunderstood, viewed as something to avoid or minimize, but struggle is far from an enemy. It is a vital teacher, one that reveals our inner strength, sharpens our understanding, and prepares us to face the complexities of existence with resilience and grace. From the moment of birth, struggle is woven into the fabric of our being. The act of entering the world is itself a struggle, a transition from the safety of the womb into the vast unknown. This initial struggle is not a burden, but a beginning, the first step in a lifetime of encounters with challenges that will shape who we become. Struggle is the crucible in which our character is forged, transforming raw potential into lived reality. In nature, the necessity of struggle is everywhere. The seed must break open to grow into a tree. The caterpillar must endure the darkness of the cocoon before emerging as a butterfly. The river carves its path through stone, not out of ease, but through persistent effort. These natural processes remind us that struggle is not a sign of failure, but an essential part of transformation. Without it, there is no growth, no progress, no becoming. For humans, struggle often takes the form of adversity, personal, professional, emotional, or spiritual. These challenges, while painful, are also opportunities. They force us to confront our limits and question our assumptions. They teach us humility, perseverance, and creativity as we navigate the obstacles before us. In the process, we discover abilities and strengths we might never have known existed. Struggle demands that we adapt, and in adapting we evolve. There is a profound wisdom in struggle that cannot be learned through comfort alone. Comfort, while appealing, often keeps us static. It can lull us into complacency, creating the illusion that growth is unnecessary. Struggle, on the other hand, disrupts this stagnation. It shakes us awake, reminding us that life is dynamic and ever-changing. It pushes us to explore uncharted territory both within ourselves and in the world around us. Struggle also deepens our connection to others. In moments of hardship, we realize the value of support, empathy, and community. Shared struggles create bonds, fostering a sense of solidarity that transcends individual experiences. Through struggle, we come to understand that we are not alone in our challenges, that others too face their battles, and that together we are stronger than we are apart. The necessity of struggle lies not in its ability to make life harder, but in its ability to make life richer. It teaches us to appreciate the moments of joy and ease, to recognize the beauty of triumph after hardship. It reminds us that every peak is preceded by a climb, and that the climb itself is what gives meaning to the summit. Struggle is not something to fear or resent, but to embrace as a fundamental aspect of being alive. It is through struggle that we grow, through growth that we thrive, and through thriving that we find the essence of what it means to truly live. In the depths of struggle, there is a subtle beauty that often goes unnoticed, a quiet magnificence that arises not in the absence of pain, but because of it. Struggle, though inherently difficult, is a profound teacher, one that shapes us in ways comfort and ease never could. It is in the moments of tension, challenge, and adversity that we discover the true depth of our resilience and the expansive capacity of the human spirit. Struggle reveals the rawness of life, stripping away the layers of pretense and forcing us to confront our vulnerabilities. It is in these moments of fragility that we experience our most authentic selves, not defined by the expectations of the world, but by our ability to endure, to grow, and to adapt. The beauty lies not in the perfection of the outcome, but in the process, in the sheer act of facing difficulty head-on and emerging from it stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. When we struggle, we are pushed beyond our limits, challenging the very notion of what we think we can bear. This is where true growth occurs. Every time we confront a challenge, we stretch the boundaries of our capabilities, uncovering strength and resourcefulness we might not have known we had. It is in the effort, the persistence, and the fight to move forward that we find our capacity to rise, even when it feels impossible. The beauty is not in the absence of struggle, but in the transformation it sparks within us. In the darkest moments of struggle, we also come to recognize the value of patience and perseverance. These are qualities that can only be cultivated when the journey is hard, when the road is long, and when obstacles seem insurmountable. Through struggle, we learn that success is not always about immediate results, but about the quiet persistence to keep going, even when progress feels slow or uncertain. The beauty in this lies in the quiet fortitude to continue, knowing that each small step forward, no matter how insignificant it may seem, is a victory in itself. Struggle, by its very nature, reveals the interconnectedness of human experience. It is through our struggles that we can truly empathize with others, understanding their pain and hardship because we have been there ourselves. In these shared experiences, we find solidarity, a reminder that no one is ever truly alone in their suffering. The beauty of struggle is in its ability to bring people together, to create bonds that transcend individual experience and unite us in our common humanity. There is beauty in the contrast struggle creates. The starkness of hardship makes the moments of joy and peace all the more vivid. When we face difficulty, we come to appreciate the simplicity of ease, the quiet moments of contentment that might otherwise go unnoticed. Struggle sharpens our senses, making us more attuned to the beauty around us when it finally comes. It is the juxtaposition of light and dark, of pain and joy, that makes each moment of peace feel more profound and meaningful. Struggle also teaches us humility, reminding us that we are not in control of everything. We can plan, we can strive, but life has its own rhythm and timing. In surrendering to the natural ebb and flow of the struggles we face, we find a deeper peace and acceptance of life as it is, not as we wish it to be. This acceptance does not signify resignation, but rather a recognition of the flow of existence, where we find beauty not in resistance but in our ability to adapt, to learn, and to continue moving forward. The beauty in struggle is found in the courage to face it, the strength to endure it, and the wisdom to learn from it. It is in the way struggle shapes us, molds us, and transforms us into deeper, more compassionate beings. Each challenge we encounter becomes a part of the story of who we are, and in the telling of that story, we find the essence of what it means to be human. In the end, it is through struggle that we discover the depth of our humanity. The beauty in the struggle lies not in the hardship itself, but in the way it shapes us, strengthens us, and connects us to the very essence of life. It teaches us that growth comes not from avoiding challenges, but from embracing them, that in the hardest moments we find our greatest potential. Struggle is the crucible in which we are forged, and in its fire we become our truest selves. Through it, we learn that every difficulty carries with it the seed of transformation. And in that transformation, we find the profound beauty of simply being alive.